Royal Borough of Greenwich, Lambeth, Lewisham and Southwark that has collaborated for the Black Business in Your Borough event. Now, this is part of the Start Up in London Libraries project, a project that was put together with the British Library in collaboration with 10 local London library authorities. It's a £3.7 million project, and part of this project's ideologies and reasons of existence is to reduce accessibility barriers for underrepresented entrepreneurs. Now, before the event, we had a question specifically around how many Black businesses are there in Southeast London. Now, unfortunately, we can't give you a factual reply to that because quite simply, anyone can set up a business as a sole trader, be operating without having yet registered, and only really by watching business rates we would really be able to give you information around that. But what we could do was get some information on some SiLL statistics around underrepresented groups. And what we found in specific in Lewisham for 2019 was 77% of the participants were female, 60% of them came from a BAME background, and over a third, 36% specifically came from a Black background, which is fantastic. As many of you will know, we offer a wide range of webinars and support, which consists of some full-day workshops and a marketing masterclass. Here is the list of the next upcoming workshops, and Emily will be adding into the chat the link where you can click on and book the workshops. So today, the format of the event is we're starting with our introduction and the housekeeping. We then will come to Councillor Cryan from Southwark. We'll then do the panelist introduction, followed by panelist questions. We then have a brilliant guest, established entrepreneur Yemi Penn has been able to join us today from the United States of America. And that will be followed by Sunil from Santander. We'll then go into part 2 of the panelist questions. We'll then have contribution from Yas from Hotpatch. And then to help us close, Uto, the SiLL project manager from the British Library, will speak before we go over the feedback forms and thank yous. As I said at the beginning, this is a 10-borough project. So we have the SME champions here today from Greenwich, Lambeth, Southwark and Lewisham. But here are the other champions. You can take their contact details, take a picture. And I think you will agree what's important is that the champions here are clearly showing diverse backgrounds, representing the diverse boroughs and the city of which we work. Now, going from here, I would like to first allow Dean to introduce the councillor. So please, Dean, if you want to unmute.
Yes, thank you, Mark. I'm not too sure if we're friends anymore, but okay. Is Councillor Cryan actually on? Have I seen her?
She is.
She is?
Yeah, I'm here. Yeah,
oh, you are
Dean.
there. Okay, you are there. Okay, fantastic. So yes, there you are. I can see you now. So Councillor Cryan, she is a wonderful woman who, just like Karen Williams, who's another councillor in Southwark, who has, for me personally, has given me faith in politics again. So she has been to several of the events that I put on the SiLL program. She's like an ambassador for entrepreneurship, especially for women as well, especially within Southwark. And it's such a pleasure to have her here today to talk to you about what we're doing in Southwark, especially for BAME businesses and businesses from the African and Caribbean background as well. So, Councillor Cryan, I'm going to hand it over to you and let you introduce yourself and tell everyone what's all the wonderful things happening in Southwark.
Thank you. Thank you for that introduction, Dean. I don't have to live up to that now, don't I? There's no pressure at all. So, hello, everyone. I'm Councillor Stephanie Cryan. I am Cabinet Member for Jobs, Culture and Skills at Southwark Council, which means everything to do with our aspirations around job support, around businesses, around skills development sits with me in my portfolio. And the Start Up in Libraries scheme, which I think is absolutely amazing, and I'm really proud that Southwark's part of that, it falls under my portfolio as well. So it's really lovely to be invited to speak to you all today. I want to start with an apology. I am sort of double booked today. I'm supposed to be chairing a meeting around our living wage group as well at the same same time. So I am only briefly in for the first part of this, but I absolutely will be catching up on the conversation through as it's being recorded around that as well. So I just wanted to give a bit of background into what we're doing in Southwark to help support Black, Asian and minority ethnic businesses. And I think at the moment it's really sort of quite pertinent that you know, there's a lot of work we're doing in Southwark, and I just wanted to get that out there to show that the role that we local authorities can play in helping support businesses and business startups around that. And especially in the context that we're in now, the landscape we find ourselves in respect of COVID. I think, you know, we all know that COVID has shone a light on the inequalities in our society. Those inequalities have always been there, but I think COVID has really shone that light on that. And we know that COVID, the effects of COVID have been worse for our Black, Asian, minority ethnic communities in that respect. And that includes our businesses as well. And then obviously we've also had, over the summer period, we've had the Black Lives Matter movement, the awful murder of George Floyd over in the States. And we felt as a council, we had to respond to that. We had to really proactively look at how we can help and support our communities around the effects of COVID and what, you know, the structural racism that exists within society at the moment. How can we challenge that head on and try and find solutions for people? So we've done a piece of work called Southwark Stands Together. And that's something that's going to be embedded throughout our council plan across lots of areas. But one of the key areas we wanted to focus on was around businesses and employment. So in the summer, I held 2 listening events. One of them was with local businesses. And it was very much a listening event where the business owners themselves and the entrepreneurs themselves told us about the inequalities they've experienced or continue to experience and what those solutions could be around that. And we're now having listened to that, we're looking at how we can incorporate solutions into the work that we do within that. And some of the things we're looking at, and I've just been looking at this morning actually, is around business support and how we can tailor, looking at what business support is available for businesses and for startups. We're mapping out what we have in the borough and what the gaps are and how we can support those gaps. But we very much also want to look at what business owners themselves need. So it's not a top-down approach. It's very much then going out to feedback and looking at what is actually needed within Southwark around that. We set up a Pioneers Fund, which was a fund where we helped support startup businesses or small micro businesses around that, because we know the value that
I can hear you, Stephanie. All good now, and we can see you too.
Brilliant. Yeah, it's the perils of working from home, isn't it? So yeah, we set up a Pioneers Fund, which was to help support startup businesses or small SMEs and micro businesses. And some of that was financial support through grants, and others we were looking at tailored business support. Unfortunately, because of COVID, we felt that we had to repurpose that fund and provide immediate financial support to businesses across the borough who weren't eligible for the government's funding in terms of the support loans, because we felt it was really important to try and support businesses to keep going and around that, because we know it's been a really awful time for businesses at the moment. We're also working in conjunction with Lewisham, Lambeth and Wandsworth on a venture called Stride. And what Stride is, it's working around finding business support, talent development and affordable workspace for businesses in the creative and tech centre, with a mind to actually helping support people into those businesses to increase the diversity. Because I think it's fair to say, especially with tech, that you know, traditionally that's not been a very diverse sector, and we're looking at how we can support young people or new businesses going into that sector as well. And some of that will be through finding affordable workspace, but some of that will be through business support and talent development. And we've been working with One Tech and Foundervine, who've been really proactive over the sort of last few months, running webinars. We were part of London Tech Week around that as well. And also, I think really important is I'm looking at how we can become. I think one of the things I was reading in sort of the Bill sent out, a really informative sort of preempt to this that Bill sent out around the local economy and how the money that goes to Black-owned businesses doesn't stay in the local economy and it's sort of dispersed elsewhere, is around community wealth building. And I'm looking at how we can have a community wealth building structure in Southwark. It's a big piece of work, but it's looking at how we make sure that the wealth that is generated locally stays locally and benefits our local communities in that as well. So that's a sort of piece of work we're looking around that. And the last thing I really wanted to mention is we're also really pleased to help and support Mentor 300, which is a mentorship scheme for Black businesses, which provides mentoring support with that. And we've been we've been talking to them about how we as a local authority can help support that as well. So I think, you know, in terms of what we're doing as a local authority, it's, you know, we really want to support as many startup businesses, as many new businesses, but also existing businesses to be able to survive and thrive, especially during these really, really difficult times. At the moment, it is hard. I know it's really hard for businesses at the moment around that. I know many businesses are really worried about what happens once the furlough scheme ends, what support is there. I know the government have recently announced that there will be some more funding available for businesses now. London is in tier 2, but what that looks like and how that will be distributed, we still don't know. We don't know how much money we're going to receive from central government or what the criteria around that will be as well. So we're working really hard to try and support as much as possible. We also, if you are on this call and you're a business from Southwark, if you want to know what's happening and what support's available, we also have a weekly newsletter that goes out to businesses. It's at Southwark Business Desk at southwark.gov.uk, and if you email that, we can get you on a distribution list that you're made aware of not just what the council are offering, but sort of what's available across the borough around that as well. And I saw something come up in the chat about Stride and how you can find out about it. They do now have their own website. I think it's, let me get on my Twitter. What I'll do, I'll put it in the chat for everybody, because they've just set up a website which explains how you can get involved or how you can benefit from it as well around that. But I just wanted to finish by saying, you know, I started by saying I'm really proud of the fact that Southwark are part of Startup in Libraries. And I just wanted to finish on the fact that I think, you know, it's real testament, not just to Dean, but to everyone in all the local authorities that are part of SiLL, that, you know, it's going from strength to strength. I've attended some events myself. I attended a really good one for International Women's Day just before lockdown, which was really, really inspiring to see women want to set up in business and their ideas, and hopefully, you know, even with COVID, those ideas can come to fruition on that. But the enthusiasm of Dean and everyone who runs this scheme is there. The fact that this event happens today is testament to the strength of Startup in Libraries around that. And I just think it's one of those things that we've done that for Southwark. I think it's one of the simplest but best things that we've been involved in terms of helping support and having that pathway for business startups as well. So it's really good to see everyone on as well. As I said, I'm really sorry I've got to go, but if anyone does have any questions for me, I'm sure I'll put my email in on the chat as well, and please do get in touch as well around this. And I hope you get a lot out of today. It looks like a really interesting panel event as well. So I'm really sorry I can't be here, but thank you.
No worries, Councillor.
Thank you so much.
Oh, sorry, Mark, I forgot. This is your show. Let me shut up.
No, it's you. You're next. You have to present yourself, introduce yourself, and that'll be followed by Rachel and Loretta.
Oh, you just put me on the spot. My God. Good afternoon, everyone. I hope everyone is actually doing well. My name is Dean Williams. I am the SME champion for Southwark. It has been a marvelous journey, and just to be biased, I think I'm in the best borough as well. Just want to throw it out there. We have really been supporting all the businesses over the last few months to grow, develop through the Startups in London Libraries program, and I'm literally honoured that Mark has put on this event for everyone, and also to be joined by Rachel and Loretta and some of the other champions as well, because they are phenomenal at what they do as well. So yeah, that's it. I finished with my Obama speech.
Rachel, would you like to join in?
Sure, I'll go next. So my name's Rachel Samuels. I am the SiLL Borough Champion for Lambeth, and I've been working with the SiLL project since we started back in 2019. I also coach and mentor and also train on equality, inclusion and diversity with an organisation called Progressive. So this subject matter is something that's close to my heart, being somebody from a Black cultural background myself. I think that Lambeth has always been a source for historically having a diverse community and really representing that. So I will probably touch more later as we go through the day of what support's available in Lambeth, such as the Black Cultural Archive, which support Black business. It's a Black business itself. Also, we have the Lambeth Local Economy Scheme, which helps business to get through hardship, especially in the light of COVID. And just a few other bits and bobs that I think will be really useful for some of the participants that we have today. Specifically, one that comes to mind is the Arts Fund, which are giving 40% of all of their funds available to Black and ethnic minority business and entrepreneurs. So that's a bit about me. That's a bit about Lambeth. I'm going to keep it short and quick because we just have so much to cover today. We've got some great guests. We have Yemi Penn joining us from Lambeth, and we've got loads of other guests joining us from the different boroughs too. So I'm going to pause there and pass over to Loretta.
Hi everyone, my name's Loretta. I'm the SiLL Champion for Greenwich. Greenwich is very similar to Lewisham in that we've got a very similar profile in terms of the number of Black aspiring entrepreneurs we're supporting, in addition to those who actually have businesses. We're a very vibrant and active community. One thing that we've noticed amongst all the businesses, but specifically the Black businesses we have in the borough, is collaboration. So lots of collaborative work in terms of helping each other secure funding and working together on funded projects to deliver the intended outcomes that they have. Very similar to Lambeth, a really active business community exists within Greenwich. We've got a business development team that support all boroughs, all businesses, as well as aspiring entrepreneurs with lots of different events and information. The SiLL project is one of many business support organisations in the borough that's putting a lot of money and effort in terms of helping entrepreneurs generally, but particularly in these times, more support has been given financially and also in terms of mentoring for businesses and aspiring entrepreneurs in the borough as well. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Loretta. So as you can all see, here are the rest of the fantastic champions that we work alongside, very representative of the city. And at this point, I'd like to introduce the rest of the panel. So if I could get Jennie, please, to introduce yourself.
Hi, folks. I'm Jennie, and I'm also otherwise known on Instagram as the Sunshine Dancer. My background was originally many years in operations, recruitment. I did a stint even as a GP practice manager for a bit, but I've kind of on the offside the last 10 years been studying breath work. I'm a yoga teacher. I teach meditation, qigong. I teach full moon and new moon ceremonies, how to bring in manifestations, abundance, techniques to raise your frequency. However, recently, I've combined all of my skills together and I've brought together a 90-day cycle because it takes 21 days to make or break a habit. However, it takes 90 days to make a lifestyle change. And within that lifestyle change, you can, some people are going through awakening at the moment and tapping in especially to their ancestral abilities. So a very popular thing for me at the moment is energy healing. So people want to empower themselves by, I give them the tools to remove any negative self-sabotage, energetic ties, patterning, binds, that prevents them from repeating the same cycles in this lifetime, so to speak. So yes, thank you for having me.
Thank you so much, Jennie. Look forward to hearing your responses to the questions thrown to the panel. Next up, could I have Tess, please, to introduce yourself?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Perfect. Hi, I'm Tess. I am from The Recruit. That's my business. We are a talent acquisition business. And just to give you a little bit of my background, I basically come from financial services. That's the industry I was in, worked on the trading floors, so looking at sales and equities. From that, I kind of always muddled my way into kind of the recruitment process in the organisations I kind of worked with, as just literally due to the fact that most of the people that I worked with, or my peers, nobody looked like me. I was not only the only woman on the dealing floor, I was the only black person on the floor. So I thought, well, if I can muzzle in on the recruitment side, I can hopefully bring people along. That was the first problem, which really irritated me. The second issue was that there wasn't actually anybody applying that was like me. So I think that's how my business kind of got created. In regards to recruitment, what we actually do, the main aim is to basically build a community to kind of focus on developing, preparing, providing kind of advice and a roadmap for industry insight. Also providing a platform for internships, apprenticeships, also looking at work experience for early careers into the industry. So we're looking at things like for 16 to 24-year-olds. One of the main things for our business is that we don't want to be seen as an initiative. There are so many great initiatives out there already, that gives the view from the outside. For my business in particular, it's all about giving the view and getting that seat for individuals in the businesses and actually maintaining it. That is very much what Recruit is really about. So it's all about kind of sourcing great, fabulous talent into working with employers, working with organisations for those opportunities really in the community and outside.
Thank you so much, Tess, not only just for that introduction, but the fantastic work that you're doing as well within those industries. And last but not least, I'd like to introduce Annie, who will also be on the panel.
Good afternoon, and thank you very much for having me. I am Annie Gibbs. I'm the founder of a community interest company called Amour Destiné, and I'm also a female rights advocate. My organisation is being established as a result of my lived experience of being raised in the UK care system and losing my mother at a very early age. I wanted to create an opportunity to support and empower Black females to overcome challenges and to show them that actually their challenges don't need to define their future and that they can create really healthy futures. So I deliver a mentoring program called the Destiny Creators program, and I also provide advocacy to support to women who are experiencing problems with things such as immigration problems with the local authority. So that's me. Thank you for having me, and I'm looking forward to being part of the panel.
Thank you so much, Annie, and thank you to all of our panel for joining us today. You're doing some fantastic work, and I hope everyone who's attended onto this session gets a lot from the questions that we're going to be looking into. So we're going to start straight into it and talking about unlocking opportunity, because that has been one of the difficulties for Black businesses in 2020. So we're talking about a report that was called Unlocking Opportunity from the Federation of Small Business and the University Centre for Research in Ethnic Minority Entrepreneurship. And it found in 2018, BAME-led businesses contributed the economic equivalent of Greater Manchester. So something that the councillor touched on about where that money is being spent within the community. Now, these businesses were found to be more innovative than non-ethnic minority-led firms, with 30% engaging in recent innovation, 11% higher than their white counterparts. Unlocking opportunities for ethnic minority entrepreneurs will benefit the UK as a whole, says the FSB National Chairman, Mike Cherry. Now, COVID-19, which has brought structural inequalities in the UK to the fore, saw many BAME business owners, particularly corner shop stores and food companies, at the forefront of serving their local communities. However, many BAME entrepreneurs have struggled to access external finance to help their businesses grow. And the report also finds they often are detached from mainstream financing as well. So what I'd like to do is follow that up with the next question. And this question is going to be coming first to Rachel. So please get yourself prepared. And the question is this, bear with me. So the report from the Federation of Small Businesses found that in 2018, BAME-led businesses contributed the economic equivalent of Greater Manchester, but many BAME entrepreneurs have struggled to access external finance and are often detached from mainstream business support. What is your experience of these issues locally, and do you feel that things are improving? And I'd like to come to Rachel first, please.
Firstly, I want to start in a positive place and answer the question, yes, I do think things are improving, but I do think that the issue of Black business, Black entrepreneurs or people from ethnic minorities being able to, one, tap into the resources that are available, and for two, have an awareness of the resources that are available is still a challenge that we face. And we do different things to ensure that we can connect with those people and have real conversations. So that's an essential part of my role, to make sure I'm doing enough outreach to contact and build relationships and rapport with local business people that do represent that diverse community and really make them aware of some of the opportunities that are available specifically in Lambeth and across London. But a lot of the time, what I often hear is, you know, I wasn't aware that this existed. I didn't know that I could tap into this. That's normally the response that I get. So I know that the role that I'm playing in kind of making people more aware of these things is definitely necessary. But yes, I do think there can still be more done in terms of making the barriers of access more, just basically lessening the barriers to access and making sure that people have an awareness and that they can engage with services and know that actually a lot of these places that maybe historically have not been designing packages or resource systems that were specifically speaking to these diverse groups have now made a shift and made a change and are starting to improve and make things available that weren't available before. So how do we highlight that more, and how do we make businesses become more involved in that is definitely something that I'm pioneering and want to be a voice and an advocate for locally.
Fantastic. Thank you for your contribution. And just to follow on, I would love to get some opinions from Tess with her background in finance and financial institutions, specifically on the points of BAME entrepreneurs struggling to access external financing, feeling detached from mainstream business support. I mean, how have you felt that has gone for you on your personal business development experience, Tess? You know, have you found there's been challenges locally, or do you feel that things are improving?
I think overall things are improving. For me personally in my business, I'm still kind of, I don't need external finance as yet. I know I have applied for a couple of grants, haven't got it, but as a first time kind of startup business, it was just a good learning curve and a learning process based on that. Speaking to a lot of other businesses that are kind of in the same position as me, what we found is that, yeah, there is definitely a disparity in regards to Black businesses obtaining finance. And, you know, it's because the criteria and thresholds are really just too high. And there doesn't seem to be a middle ground for business that is established to an extent, but not established in the mainstream's eyes. There's been a lot of talk about crowdfunding, which is kind of being the new kind of way to kind of raise funds. I know NatWest is currently running a really good program. I think it's called Back Her, which is like a female kind of more project. If you're looking for kind of crowdfunding. And this is a great avenue where obviously you're working with NatWest, you're working with Crowdfunder, and it's a great way for you to kind of potentially raise crowdfunding funds. If nobody doesn't know what crowdfunding is, it's about kind of normal individuals, you and I, actually liking a company, liking what they're doing, liking their products, and thinking, you know what, I think I'm just going to put some money in just to help them along. And it's a good way to kind of get the community, everybody involved in that process. And it's kind of like a new wave or a new way to actually obtain funds. It's really difficult, but I think if he doesn't obtain it now, hopefully further down the line, it is very much obtainable. I think it's all about doing your research, finding out what kind of fits your own business and if it's actually a real need for you now.
Thank you so much for sharing your insight there. Some real essential points. So we're going to move on to our purchasing power, or purchasing power within the Black community and Black business. Now, according to the 2011 census, the Black population in the UK is more than 1.9 million, 3% of total population. The Centre of Research in Ethnic Minority Entrepreneurship found that firms owned by people of African and Caribbean origin generate over £10 billion for the British economy. Now, according to the Institute of Practitioners in Advertising, the spending power of Black consumers is 300 billion. I'm going to say that again, 300 billion. In an article by Sonia Brown of the National Black Women's Network, Daniel Lister, founder of My Black Market, says the Black community spends 95% of its money outside of the community. Of the remaining 5% that is spent within the community, 3% goes to non-Black owned businesses. This, he says, leaves us with only 2% of our income, and nobody can live off 2% of their income. I think that is a fair conclusion, that, you know, I'm sure we would all struggle to live off 2% of our income. So I'm going to come to Annie first. The question I'll pose is, how do you feel about the amount of money being spent by the Black community on goods and services provided outside of the community? Annie?
Sure. For me personally, it's something which has always bothered me, the fact that the money which is going into Black business is so low, and is the reason why I've always made a conscious effort to try and help support Black-owned businesses within my own organisation, and I've done that in a number of ways. So since 2018, I've been hosting female marketplace events and ensuring that you know, Black female-owned businesses have an opportunity to showcase their businesses and increase their reach, and also I invite representation to come and speak as well. And I've recently just launched, co-launched an online platform called the Greenbook, which is a directory of Black-owned businesses. And it's something I'm really passionate about, because I feel that if we make more of a conscious effort to kind of find Black-owned businesses, we are then able to then navigate our pound towards increasing their visibility and also generating their income, and that's not going to happen if we don't know where they are, which I think has actually been one of the biggest barriers for us as Black-owned businesses, that, you know, we just don't know where everybody is, and I think that now everyone is talking more about Black-owned businesses. It's making it a lot easier to kind of connect those dots. So yeah, that's my feel on your question.
Thank you.
Has that answered your question?
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you for your contributions on the Black economy. And actually, just because you touched on the Greenbook, which is a great opportunity, if there is anyone on the chat who has a business, a Black-owned business, yes, or maybe knows somebody, you know, put your introduction into the chat, put your details into the chat. You'll be able to connect with Annie, you'll be able to connect with other members on the panel. So please feel free to add that information into the chat, connect with people, network. And also, if you've got any questions for the panel, please start filling the chat with any questions you have for the panel that you will like us to ask live. We will be able to ask a few of these live, and any questions we don't get to, we will be following up with an email with responses. Loretta, I just want you to come to you on that same question, really, in terms of how do you feel about the amount of money being spent by the Black community on goods and services provided outside the community?
So when I read the statistic, I knew that it was very high, but I didn't know it was that high. First feelings was actually one of disappointment, if I'm being honest. However, I think, as Annie has said, and something that I talk about a lot, I feel as though visibility is so important. I feel as though if more Black businesses were more visible, whether that's on Google, social media, and had a really strong online presence and profile, they could be easily found, therefore increasing their visibility and likelihood to get more revenue in, essentially. I also think that collaboration also is really, really key. Something that we're finding more in the SiLL community in Greenwich is those businesses that are collaborating together are going in for joint funding bids and getting them because they're utilising both of their strengths and their skills to deliver a programme, and also just networking, another form of collaboration. So I don't know something, you know something, I don't know this individual, but you do. Can we work together in order to sort of get the information we both need to sort of move forward, or to get those introductions into meetings? So I feel as though once those things start happening and are encouraged more, we'll start seeing a little bit of change in terms of how the money is being circulated.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree with you more in terms of skill sharing, knowledge sharing, resource sharing, and actually with the new initiative that's come out of the government, the Kickstarter, that's actually promoting businesses to collaborate, work together, because they need to offer up to 30 jobs. And most businesses won't be able to offer 30 jobs. So they're encouraging companies to collaborate, team up a few companies together to enable to get this Kickstarter support into their businesses. So I think that message is also coming through from central government as well. Dean,
add to that. Can I just jump in and add to that? Because I think what's really key about the statistic that you've shared is I think that what's happened in 2020 is there's more of an awareness within Black and ethnic minorities as the type of influence we hold through our spending, and the power that the Black pound even has. And I think that a lot of agencies now are seeing that Black people or ethnic minorities are starting to think about how they can be more how they can logically circulate money more, and it's encouraging the bigger business to actually take more focus and support Black and ethnic minority business, because they actually do see the power in the Black pound as well. And I think that's just an important point to note, that we need to understand our own value in the bigger scheme of things, in the whole marketplace. And when we can come from that position, I think that puts us in a position of power, because then we really understand, like you say, that statistic that you just shared just really shows you the weight that we do hold in the global economy.
Thank you, Rachel. And just to follow up, I'd like to come to Dean now and ask, you know, do you have any thoughts on how things can be changed so that more money is circulated within the Black community, growing businesses and generating employment?
Mark, okay, on this question, right, are we being nice on this session, this webinar, or are we being honest?
I want everyone to put into the chat, would you like Dean to be nice or honest?
Be honest.
We'll see what the responses are. There you go.
All right, cool. So my thing is this, right? I have done so much work within the Black community, working with organisations like the 100 Black Men of London for like 8 years. 2018, I put on an event called the State of the Black Man, which helped men to be emotionally aware of who they are, take inventory of themselves, and be more emotional. I'm telling you, I'm hearing what people are saying and all this stuff, and I'm still waiting for someone to show me where this magical community actually is. Like, to me, I don't see, like, I know there's a group of individuals who have similar backgrounds from similar places, but not everyone who is Black comes from the same community. You can't say that every single person is in the same community and everyone's in the same place. When I worked in the bank myself, the mentality of the Black people who I was working with was totally different to those who were working in like normal kind of jobs. So not everyone shares the same types of sentiments in regards to building Black and buying Black. So my thing is this, right? And I'm just going to come from a business perspective, because that's where my excellence lies within business. I feel that we need to change our mentality. Our mentality is not, to me, we need to raise our standards. And what I mean by that is, it's not so much about us supporting Black and we go to a Black shop, because I would not go to a Black shop if I get substandard service. I don't care if you're black, white, or whatever. If you're Asian, if you're going to be rude or you're not going to be able to really express yourself in a way but it's professional, why am I going to come in and buy your stuff? So my thing really and truly is, you know what, as black people, we need to really raise our standards, create wonderful businesses, and then these businesses will be seen by other people, and we just happen to be black people running great businesses. So for me, it's more of a mindset change than anything else at this moment. And if more of us do that, more of us actually do that, that's where the community comes. That's when we know, okay, but we raise our standards, we hold these businesses to a higher regard, and that's how we make a change. Not but yeah, let's just go and buy black. Why am I going to support something which I know is not going to last? It don't make no sense. So for me personally, I feel we really need to take inventory of ourselves first of all, as people, as entrepreneurs, being from the black community, and then start making changes, plans and strategies from that position. That's just my thoughts.
Thank you so much, Dean. You're getting a lot of support in the chat. And yes, it's all about sustainable businesses. You know, we want to support businesses that are going to be here for 5, 10, 15, 20 years, maybe some decades, maybe handed down some generations. You know, so that's what it's about. At this point, I'd like to bring back Rachel just to introduce our established entrepreneur. Please, Rachel, would you like to introduce her?
Yes, sure. I've got the pleasure of introducing Yemi Penn, who is an established entrepreneur. She grew up in Lambeth, has business in Lambeth as well as internationally, notably in Australia. I'm going to keep my introduction of you brief because there's so many things that you do, and I really want to just give you the floor, Yemi. Yemi's also an author of a book which is called Did You Get the Memo? And that I think really explains her journey in her entrepreneur journey, and how she gained lessons and insights along the way that really she wants to share with everybody else, so that they don't have those kind of slap in the face moments and awakening moments, and are really put in a position where they can know what to expect and expect the unexpected. She also has a coaching company called W Squared Coaching, and is currently in the US for her TED Talk. So I know that you're tight on time, Yemi. I'm going to pass the floor over to you to be able to explain what you do.
Thank you so much. Truly honoured, and I wouldn't be me if I didn't say thank you, because I don't take it lightly when space is created, and for the number of people that have given up their time, and acknowledge everybody else from the different boroughs as well. I also just want to do a very quick shout out to Dean for your honesty. I think sometimes and I was uncomfortable as you were talking, I'll be honest with you. I think honesty is really important, but we need to get comfortable with being uncomfortable, and that is one of my key messages I'll be doing in my TED Talk. Okay, so I'm going to quickly share my screen. I'm talking for 10 minutes, and I love, because I like to defy all the odds and make sure I'm on time. And then I'm really hoping for questions, a bit of dialogue. So hopefully you can see my screen. Just give me 1 second.
Yeah, yes. See a screen.
Okay, sweet. All right, so who am I and what have I got to say? So my name is Yemi Penn. I best describe myself as a mechanical engineer by profession. I'm a mother to 2 beautiful kids. I'm an entrepreneur by passion, and I say entrepreneur because what I had to figure out with myself first was probably about, I want to say 6 years ago, where I found myself bitching and moaning about all the gaps in society. And I think Dean alluded to this. I've had numerous conversations with Rachel. A big part of progress is changing our mindset. And that's where my true mission comes out, which is transformation mindset. The minute I shifted my perspective, which is my definition of transformation, was when things started to change. So if I see a gap in society which needs either a service or product, the first internal conversation I have with myself is, am I the woman to do the job, or are there other people, and how can I support them? And that's where my interest and I guess passion for wanting to do more has come up. I put all of that together by saying I'm effectively what I call an entrepreneur, which is someone who makes shit happen. I do have a potty mouth. I will try and keep it clean, and that is the last bomb I will drop. But ultimately, we need more entrepreneurs. And I will talk through some of the pain points in actually trying to achieve that. Couple of things. When I talk, I never know what I'm going to say, even though sometimes I practice. And so this is where I want to offer the gift for you to receive whatever downloads come for you. I'm a big believer that our dreams choose us, meaning that when you have a thought or an idea, it actually decided to choose you. You had nothing to do with it. Whether you believe in a past life or this life, it's because you are the agent to carry it out. So while I talk through my story, I want you to lean into what your story is, what lesson there is to learn, what's your mission, whether it comes from your passion, your pain points, are you able to create it into a service or product? And the last one is your why. You can ask why in two perspectives. Why from this empowering place? Why is this happening to me? Or why do I want to make this change? I'll tell you now that I'm here having this conversation because I was always the shy kid who never wanted to be seen. But I'll tell you this, it's very difficult to make a difference hiding in the shadows. So for me, I need to speak up and be heard and be seen, even if it makes some people feel uncomfortable, but it's all with love. All right, I want to talk about transmuting pain to power. And what I'm going to quickly do as I look at my time is roll through some of the things that could be seen as pain. Now, this picture, I don't know how many people are fully aware that our existence begins in our grandmother. So when my grandmum was born, when my grandmum was pregnant with my mum, within my mum, her eggs are already in there. If there's someone biological in here, you can correct me where I'm wrong. But effectively, the eggs are already in my mum. And the point I'm trying to make here is that whatever my grandmum was going through, whether it was stress, happiness, slavery, being lynched for anything, it comes through to me. So just at a biological level, if you don't even want to believe that there is something before us, you need to sit and get comfortable with this. And the reason why I bring this up is because knowing this allows me to be kinder to myself on what I call intergenerational monkeys. And I'm coming on to that. Another part of my life was when I was younger, an incident had happened where I lost my power. And as a result, I also lost my voice. And it's only recently I've started to use my voice, but really wanted to make a difference and actually be the voice of courage and compassion. The opportunity this pain point has given me is to find my voice and my power. And I kid you not, to be in the US preparing for a TEDx talk in Florida next month is short shy of a miracle. 6 years ago, this definitely would not have been even something I would dare dream or think about. And all of that is because I decided to step out, use my voice once I found it. Intergenerational trauma. We're here celebrating Black History Month. I don't know whether I should be embarrassed to say it or not, and this will make you feel uncomfortable, is there's a part of me that started stepping back from trying to highlight to people that I'm Black. As my son, who's 7 years old, tells me I'm not Black, I'm brown. And I get it. These are semantics. These are just little bits and pieces. But I personally no longer want to subscribe to a narrative that keeps me playing small. But I completely understand why some people still do. And I mean that hand on heart. This is just where I am right now. But I'm fully aware that I still carry monkeys from previous generations. And I throw no shade. I just acknowledge it. What this allows me to do once I acknowledge it is focus on my healing. I really want to make it clear because it's such a short period of time and hopefully we can all connect on a different level. I want us to acknowledge what we go through, but we need to be here for the healing. And I say that so much so that, you know, what I do not heal in my lifetime, at some point I will subconsciously pass it down to my children. And that's why it's important for me. There was another period, loss of abandonment. My mom put me in boarding school in Nigeria. I want to say I've forgiven her for that. I mean, I think this is the right crowd. When I do this presentation to other people who don't necessarily come from, you know, communities like myself, they think it was like a Prince Charles or Prince Harry boarding school. Babao, it was not that. It was Nigeria, Survivor, and imagine there's no camera crew. I remember hating that experience, but I know for a fact that experience gave me resilience and independence. I guess the theme you're going to see me pick up here is that wherever there is a pain point, there is an opportunity. The question is, are you going to lean into the dream that calls you to make a difference? Once again, I started to feel the statistics of being a single parent when I separated from my partner, and what that pushed me to do, because I truly believe crisis tends to be our biggest trigger for transformation. It forced me to do a lot of self-reflection. Now that I know better, would I have done better? Absolutely. And I managed to get another opportunity to do that. This was a product that I decided to make called SaniSave. I was so slow in bringing it out that the amount of competitors I have is unreal. This is an emergency kit for women who just never seem to find the right bag that has their products when it comes to the time of the month. This was a problem I had and I still have today. And I remember thinking, I just want somebody else to do this, but I was the person for the role, but I took too long. And so I really ask you to step up the next time something comes up, because it has your name all over it. When it felt like my life, like I was failing, this thing called the memo that we're meant to follow, I felt like I was going through another crisis. I mean, to be really honest with you, I don't think I've said it in that many public forums. You know, I relocated to Australia, even though I'm in between both the UK and Australia, because I was hiding of the shame I was carrying. What that really made me do was awaken. And the beautiful Jennie, Sunshine Dancer, mentioned about awakening. There is a shift where people are saying, okay, so this is no longer working. This paradigm, even though some people have known this for years, decades, and centuries, there is a bigger collective, and some of them we call allies, who are wakening up. And I think we really need to lean into that. Patriarchy, want to make it very clear what patriarchy is to me. Patriarchy is a system that has been created by a single story, one side, that is not actually doing men and women and the seemingly underrepresented voice any favors. And we need to work together to change that. For me, once again, while I was bitching and moaning about that, I decided to set up my own consultancy in Sydney, Australia, where I also have clients in the UK. Similarly, I went on to open up my first business in London, in Brixton, which is the F45 gym. That was probably the hardest thing I've ever done. But as a result of it being the hardest thing I've ever done, it's allowed me to go on and have the audacity to dream big and take business to an international level. And trust me, there are so many opportunities, Brazil being one that I just wanted to put in. Lack of diversity. I am in Santa Barbara and I've been here for 2 weeks. I cannot find one person to do my hair for an interview I have in the next hour. Not one person. And when I do find a black person with braids and I'm running down the street like some mad woman, they're telling me I got to drive 5 hours to Oakland, California to get my hair done. I know there are lots of, apps that are out there, but I'm now developing an app where I can literally connect to anybody worldwide within a distance to see who can do my hair. And hopefully this can bring more business. It's not a secret. 2020, if someone came up to you and said you've been punked, you'd be a little bit happy about that. However, it has been the catalyst for change that we need. And with the sad loss of George Floyd and so many other people, for me, this triggered me to want to just start creating more businesses. I just want to be seen now. I want to employ people. I want to be able to have the space that allows people to come in. And that's why I opened up a cafe in Sydney, and at some point we'll do a bit more. The other thing I do want to bring up is, I guess, the one big reason why I am here in America is because I feel I've released my first ever documentary. Hand on heart, it is not in my story to be an executive producer. I Googled how to make a documentary on May 13th, 2020. Please believe me that failure is not due to a lack of resources, it's due to a lack of resourcefulness. And I guess I'm being kind of abrupt and harsh because the wake up needs to be now. And if there was ever a message, this is the time for us to do that. I'm quite sure I'm running out of time, but if you just give me 2 more minutes and I'll be done. I wanted to talk about two really key points, because I never just like to talk. I want to give you some things to work on. If you are looking for a transformation, whether it's to start a business, to grow your business, I ask you to figure out what your blind spots are. This story is powerful. It's the story of 6 blindfolded men, and a king asked them to figure out what this thing is in the courtyard. Every single one of them is touching a part of the elephant. They would all go to war for what they're touching. The guy touching the tail saying that's a rope. The person touching the foot says it's the trunk. They would literally go to war. And I get it. There are times I've been like that. I remember in my personal life when I was so damn sure this is it. This marriage was going to be the one. Like literally I'd have gone to war. And as a result, when things didn't work out, I felt like an absolute failure. For me, transformation is shifting perspective. If you do not have the courage to walk around and find out where your blind spots are, find people who are different to you. My business always, no matter where I am in the world, I will always come back to home, whether it's Lambeth, Brixton, Nigeria, Australia now, but I will take different perspectives. And for me, that has helped me take my businesses on an international level. In order to do that, you need to empty your cup. If you think you know everything, it means you have no capacity to learn anything else. And there's only one person, whoever you believe in, whether it's God, Mother Earth, who really has an understanding of all the knowable. In every meeting, conversation you go into, I say suspend your disbelief and be open. Finish with this. Our greatest gift to humanity will be to resolve our trauma using compassion and courage. Now, people will read that differently. Using compassion and taking courage. I think courage is a big thing. I have scared myself shitless on a number of accounts, and sometimes I have failed, sometimes I have lost money. But because I think of the time and what I want to leave my kids, I'd rather fail fast. And so take courage, but have compassion, because I think the journey is so much more sweeter. Thank you, thank you, thank you. There's a code if you want to scan, you can, and that will take you to my documentary where you can learn more about the work I'm doing and a greater call to action for how we can actually all work together. So apologies, I think I just went up just over past 10 minutes, but if there are any questions, I will definitely be here for the next half an hour. Please, please shoot through.
Real quick from me, will you be sharing your slides?
I'm more than happy to, no problem.
That'd be fantastic.
Yeah, no worries.
Wow. Thank you for sharing, Yemi. Wow, yeah, go ahead, Mark. I was just about to say, Yemi, I think just done a beautiful job of explaining and encapsulating so many different points on so many different layers. One point that really speaks to me, I mentioned before that I've worked in the charity sector for over 10 years, specifically dealing with trauma, and how actually pain is often the catalyst that allows people to be able to move. Now, this is my experience over time. And I think that as culturally, we have experienced a lot of pain. And I think it's about using that resilience as a resource, like Yemi said, in order to propel us and use that as a springboard for our ideas, our creativity, our innovation, and our collaboration. So I hope you enjoyed the Lambeth guest, Yemi. And like she said, she's available to take questions.
Yeah, thank you so much, Yemi. That was a really powerful contribution that I'm sure resonates with so many of us on the chat. Just while we're collecting some questions for Yemi, please fill them into the chat. We also have a couple other ones. I just wanted to come to you, Loretta, with a question that was sent in from Carl. And the question was, what mentoring and one-to-one business support do you provide as part of SiLL? Are you allocated a business support champion, and do you open doors for networking? And I was hoping, Loretta, you would be able to take that one.
Sure. So every SME champion across the boroughs do one-to-ones, essentially. So you've got 10 individuals to pick from. You don't actually have to have a one-to-one from the person that actually lives in your borough. And the one-to-ones, I feel, are fantastic in that it's a great way to have a soundboard, essentially. Sometimes not knowing who you're speaking to about your business is great to get some fresh perspectives. So definitely, if you're interested in a one-to-one from any of us, please just send us an email, and that's possible. With regards to mentoring, we don't have a formal mentoring program, but we are associated with organisations that actually do. So if you're looking for a business mentor, let us know. We can give you some information about what organisations to contact. I think there's a business mentoring organisation actually on the Zoom call as well. So that might be useful to share details of the individual that's representing that organisation as well. Networking for sure. In Greenwich, if I'm speaking more specifically, we've got the Startup Greenwich network meeting. We used to meet physically once a month in Woolwich, but now that's all online. And it's a great opportunity to meet others like you who are involved in the same industry business industry that you're in to network, collaborate, learn best practice. And I think most importantly, what we do is hold each other to account. So if you said in the last meeting, I am going to do X, Y, and Z, and 2 months down the line, you haven't, we'll ask you why, essentially. What's the challenges? How can we help you meet those goals? And we also share resources, time, exchange skills as well. So if you're good at, I don't know, social media, and somebody's good at writing a business plan, or, for example, looking at your cash flow and, you know, doing some great Excel sheets for you to help you with that, people swap skills in that respect as well. So lots of support out there. Send me an email if you're interested in knowing a bit more and how to get involved.
Fantastic. Thank you for that reply, Loretta. At this point, I'd like to just welcome in our guest from Santander Bank. So Sunil Vadukul. I'm so fluent at pronouncing that. Sunil, if you would like to unmute, and we'd love to hear from you about what Santander have been doing.
Yeah, thank you so much for this platform. It's good to see some familiar faces. Rachel, I've been working with Rachel for some time. We did some good startup events last year at the Brixton Library. So a bit about myself. I'm currently working in Santander Lewisham. I've been in the bank almost 15 years now. Majority of my time supporting businesses and helping new startups, established businesses. And yes, it's business banking has been very close to my heart. So, and I love working with local communities. And it's, again, this platform has been great to understand. And Yemi, I just managed to get into your presentation. I thought it was really inspiring, and thank you so much. And I thought that was really touching. I'm so sorry that I couldn't start from the very start of the call, and I won't be able to stay here for too long, but it'll be really good to hear from everyone. But yeah, thank you so much. But yeah, just to see what we're doing locally. So in terms of, you know, this month has been really important. It's actually educated me as well, even more so, and also colleagues within our team as well. So because I actually work in branches, we have a very small network now. What we're doing locally is supporting local businesses, Asian businesses via our internal adverts. So as you can see, you can have, when you go past, when you're in the bank, you have the screens. When you're outside the bank, you've got the screens where we're advertising local businesses. And one of the local businesses that we're actually advertising in Lewisham is a local Indian restaurant called Royal Nepalese. Gives them that platform to actually showcase the business, how COVID has actually affected them, how we can encourage people to actually support local businesses at these current times as well. So, and we're doing that. So that was phase one. We actually got phase two. We've got another business that we're going to be launching in November. Again, supporting local business as we can. In addition, how we're supporting, colleagues as well within the company. Now, we've got various listening events that we're holding across South London, South East London by our area manager, our area director, local managers, just to create and hear experiences from our colleagues and create a more inclusion working environment. So again, within what we're doing in Lewisham branch, we've got a champion who's actually, we have a quiz every day, and it's great. It's like a 15-minute quiz just to get fun facts, understand how the history was, what we're doing now, and just to get an idea of like people's understanding as well, and again how we can educate others as well. I think this lockdown especially has given the platform everyone just to reflect on what's been going on, where you've had your 9-to-5 job, you've not really been on social media, but where you've been working from home and just taking that 10 minutes breather, you can actually really sit and understand and listen to what people have got to say, because before people had their priorities, etc. So what we're doing is we've actually set a couple of programs, as you call it. We have our intranet that every day we are sharing experiences, sharing stories. From leadership level, we've got you know, an ambition to actually double our, in terms of leadership, in terms of Black population by 2023, and build a, you know, critical mass of talented role models at senior levels, as an example. We're going to be launching a Black talent and sponsorship programs to improve career progression and internal mobility. We'll have like a point senior Black advisor to ensure decisions around people have a inclusion lens based on the lack of representation of executive committee and business area leadership team level. That's something around about leadership. In terms of like drive positive change, we're focused on attraction of colleagues from a Black background for entrepreneurships and graduate programs to our early in year program through leveraging diverse attraction methods, as an example. What we're doing is we'll be planning to appoint and work with external partners to inform our approach to Black inclusion and support Black communities with meaningful volunteering opportunities, education and outreach. Now, where we are at the moment, where we can't really go out and support as much as we wanted to, we're trying to do, like we have Zoom, this is the new technology, this is the new world now. So I would love to, I mean, even when I was speaking to Rachel in last October, we said it would be great to create another startup event and help local businesses and how we can help local communities. Now, where we are at the moment, we can try and think of how we can do things remotely in the virtual world now. In terms of networks, in terms of talk directly to Black employees about lived experiences, we're going to establish reverse mentoring initiatives with like clear objectives and a framework to our executive committee and leadership teams. We'll continue to with our minority ethnic advisory group to shape our inclusion strategy and have a Black representation at our executive committee, diversity and inclusion forum as well. So we've got these panels and these groups set up. So it's a case of actually moving forward and making sure this actually works well as well. But so again, please do reach out to me. I didn't have a chance, I do apologize, I didn't have a chance to actually create a slideshow, but I always think it's sometimes speaking to someone face to face, you have a more of an impact. And as Rachel knows that when I did my presentation last time, I probably kept it very brief, but I prefer to keep it very, very natural, keep it simple and have a more of a connection as a one-to-one rather than listening to words on a presentation where you don't probably know, it's very scripted. So I'd rather just keep it very simple and a good flow. I'm actually based in Lewisham, so I will, if you can, please share my details. Happy, any questions anyone has, I will, we'll schedule some time out. I'll give you a call and we can discuss it. Please, sorry, over to you.
Yeah, Sunil, it'll be great. We've had an inquiry in the chat. So if you could share your details or any contact details where people could reach you or reach out to your team into the chat, that would be absolutely fantastic. We're going to come back now to the panelists and getting through the questions. So the next two questions, I'd love to come to Jennie and Yemi on. And it is about, what would you say to an aspiring BAME entrepreneur or Black entrepreneur about the challenges of starting a business? And I thought I'd start with coming to Jennie and then we'll follow up with Yemi.
So you want to answer that? Or?
For me personally, I started this month my business, and the biggest challenge, I suppose if somebody needs funding, that's going to be an issue. But I think it's just finding out all the little ins and outs of what you need to do in more of the commerce side of things, getting the business plan down, getting to know your figures, because that's a number you have to create out of nowhere initially for the next 12 months. And then if you're not someone who's comfortable with networking or stuff like that, then it's obviously coming out of your comfort zones in learning how to network, who to network with. And and just finding out more. I think for me personally, the best thing you can do is just research, and use all the tools out there, especially social media at the moment. As everybody has already said today, collaboration is 100% key in order for everybody to rise together. So yeah, the more people that you can get on board with at the beginning of your business, the less challenging it's actually going to be. So yeah.
Thank you, Jenny. You sound like you've been speaking too much to me, because I'm always like research. So, you know,
you are to blame.
Tell, chip off the old block, old Lewisham SiLL block. Yemi, I'd love to hear from you in terms of what you would say to an aspiring BAME entrepreneur about the challenges of starting a business.
The first thing is, if you're aspiring, that means it chose you. So number one, step up. Just like, even if you just say the words to yourself, well, it's me. I used to ask the question, why me? And now I change it with, well, it is me. That's number one. Number two, everything Jenny said, you know, modeling is really important. The thing is, there's probably very little that hasn't been done. You know, if we think of our families, you know, from Black, Asian, what different communities, most of them have been immigrants and they had significantly less. Take part of whatever energy they had to feed into it. And then also lack of resources. Yet money is an issue. But I promise you, if you try to find someone who had no money, and I'll put my hand up here, and I'm more than happy to speak to as many people as I can if we contact outside of here, as to how you can start something with as little money as possible. Sometimes you just need the left foot, right foot, left foot, right foot, and then the dream gets bigger and bigger. But the important thing is to just start.
Thank you so much for that insight. Did someone want to follow up? Thought I heard something. No? Okay, no worries then. All right, the next question I wanted to pose also to the entrepreneur. So this one's for you, Yemi, and we'll come to a couple more of the SiLL participants as well. Has the Black Lives Matter movement this year had an impact on your business and you as an entrepreneur, and if so, how?
Oh, damn straight. Has it had an impact? I've gone through the whole emotions. I went through a lot of mourning, and I think that's what I saw a lot of people do. I think there was vocabulary and language. I had people from different backgrounds calling, crying, not knowing what to do. And I know there was the whole thing of, I don't want to have to be the one to soothe you for any sort of guilt or shame or whatever. So that whole emotion went through. And I did what I do best, which was, after I'd gotten through the sadness, was to ask myself the question, well, what am I trying to do here? And the big thing is, I just want us to be seen more. You know, is it Greenbook, Annie, that's done that? We need more things like that, where we can be seen for the services we're offering. Yes, I've got a gym in London, but I now thought, okay, I need to now have a presence in Australia. And it's the reason why I'm here. You know, I mourn the loss of George Floyd and so many other people, but then in a weird way, I'm grateful for the catalyst that has given. So for me, it's now about visibility. What I will do is step up, do everything to offer the best service, as Dean said, like the best service I possibly can give, but believe that if I'm not invited to the table, I'm gonna build my own damn table, and I'm gonna collaborate with whoever's interested, and that's what it's done for me.
Oh, thank you so much. I could see that really resonated with Sunil and Rachel and myself and Loretta, you know, absolutely. Thank you so much for that, Yemi. Also to Tess, you know, how would you say the Black Lives Matter movement has affected you, if it has affected you as a business and an entrepreneur?
On a personal level, definitely. I mean, I don't think everybody's shown emotion in regards to, you know, the BLM. I think you can't really miss it, to be fair. In regards to my business, I will say not as yet, but obviously as a talent scout, as a recruitment business, looking to work with employers and young people, looking for, you know, opportunities. There is so much. Just down to a few days ago, the campaign has literally just started for finding 10,000 Black interns, which is a new initiative that's kind of kick-started from finding 100 Black interns. And, you know, there are changes actually happening. Now, don't get me wrong, the 10,000 Black interns initiative is over 5 years. You know, it is going to be hopefully involving loads of organisations, you know, being involved. But for me, it's about, how does that help me? You know, as a local, you know, community business, how can I kind of harness that and use it to my advantage? So it's just a case of the spotlight is very much there. It hasn't impacted my business at all as yet, but I've just got to see ways of how I can try and harness what's currently going on in regards to it.
Oh, thank you so much. And just to follow up with Dean, just for a SiLL Champion perspective, because obviously we work with many clients from different industries. Dean, you know, how have you felt there's been an impact with the Black Lives Matter movement in terms of businesses and entrepreneurs in the borough?
Mark, I swear to God, you're trying to start something, you know. What's the question? Ask me that question again in a different way.
All right. So has the Black Lives Matter movement this year had an impact on you and your business and you as an entrepreneur? If so, how?
Answer that is no. It hasn't. As I said, I don't think I'm the best person to really be answering this question to, because my views on the Black Lives Matter is probably more different to probably 99% of the people on this call right now. But I can see what they're doing, and I can see the impact they have made on especially inspiring people to do something. But I guess like how I've been worked with my mentor, I'm all about results. Like, I'm not about the noise. So at the end of the day, it's like, when I'm looking back at this, I'm like to look back and say, what actually has been done? Not just the fact that, okay, yes, I get it. People have been inspired to take flight on their dreams and start businesses and stuff like that. I'm not talking about marching. I'm talking about tangible things, tangible benefits that's actually really coming through these type of stuff. What's actually happening with our young people? What's actually been put in place for the next generation? What's actually happening right now in the present that's going to lead to a lasting change? So I'm more practical. So I am not about this whole emotional thing, and I get it. These are times where, especially those from the diaspora, we are looking to, we want to do something. But I'm guessing because I've been studying the Honourable Marcus Messiah Garvey, I'm not about the noise. I'm about, listen, like, we need to make a difference, and we need to step up as a people, those who share the vision, who have that work ethic to really make a difference, to really come together and pave the way and be the light for other people to say, hey, we're not talking about making a change, we're making a change and letting other people talk about it. That I don't see. But this, again, this is just my thoughts. So this is what I've been saying, Mark, as I've been talking to you. Mm-hmm. One of the clear things, and I'm going to end on this point here, one of the clear things that I said I'm going to do before I die, when you look at my gravestone, it's clearly going to say, this is the man who raised the bar of what Marcus Garvey did. That's going to be on my gravestone, because in my mind, it's that Marcus Garvey should not be the pinnacle of excellence for us right now in 2020. Are you mad? Like, we should be setting new bars and then raising leaders behind us to come after us to raise that bar again. So that's my thought. Like, I want to leave tangible benefits moving forward. And I'm so grateful to be working with the champions that I am right now, because all of you have inspired me to be excellent within myself. And I want to be able to do that moving forward and helping as many people, especially Black women, because I honestly feel if Black men support Black women to be able to be the best that they can be, we will then create our own nation. So I'm going to finish it there.
Well, thank you for your honest and open feedback, Dean. It's appreciated. That is the whole point of the panel conversation. And just to follow up on those points in terms of the Black Lives Matter movement and the impact on businesses, I wanted to come to you, Annie, if you're there. How do you feel a positive spotlight on Black businesses in 2020 has improved your position as a business owner?
I would say, I thought about this question a lot, and I kind of feel a little bit like Dean as well, in a sense that although it's magnified that actually we're not seen, to shine a light on us in a positive way, in terms of like, we do have excellence, we do have talent within our community, it's just kind of magnified. What can I say? Trying to be as honest as I can be. the sort of ignorance within society in terms of the work that I do, particularly because I work with a lot of vulnerable women who unfortunately are still struggling, despite the fact that we have got this positive light spun on us as a Black community and having excellence. It still affects those women a lot, and that's the reason why my service there is a need. The other thing that I wanted to kind of highlight is that I now get email replies to you know, people that perhaps might not have replied to my email previously, and access to funding. I would say those pots are more accessible now. I've just been funded by the government a substantial amount of money, and I think that as this spotlight has shone on the inequalities within our community, that probably wouldn't have happened for me, and I strongly believe that. And I think we've still got a very long way to go. I think the more people we have in our decision-making places to continue to drive this positive light on us as Black business owners within our community, to elevate our people further into those more sort of increased opportunities. I think that we're still kind of struggling a little bit. But as Yemi said earlier, despite that, we keep going. Like Yemi, I've been doing many things for free, supporting our community for many years until this funding's come into my life. So yeah, sorry if I went on a little bit, but keep it real. And Dean, let's connect.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you so much. And
Most definitely.
Just to get a touch from Jennie as well, I just wanted to get your input in terms of the spotlight on Black businesses currently in 2020. How do you feel this has improved your position as a business owner, especially a startup business that's been starting up this year locally?
Well, for me, I think it's been a blessed thing with everything. I always try to see the positive, and there's everything in life is a balance. So therefore, with all the chaos, I found calm because people are starting to be activated. They have the time to be still, look inside themselves and realize what's going on and what is not right, not only with the world around them, but what they need to change within themselves. So as a result of this, I've been blessed because people are now starting to realize within our communities their own power, whether it's spending, whether it's buying. They're now realizing they don't want to just leave material items behind. They want to create generational wealth, which is paramount to our success for our future generations, and healing from that perspective on a cellular structure, and also wanting to be and become the best version of themselves because of it. And because of this, like all of my clients this month, they're all from ethnic backgrounds. So that's a blessed thing. These people, everybody wants to make a change because they realize by breaking these cycles within their generational habits of self-sabotage and not thinking that they're good enough, then once they break those cycles, they can go on to help their future cycles and generations to become the best, and also to increase the generational wealth that they'll make in this lifetime now.
Absolutely. So it sounds like you know, a lot of what I'm hearing from the panel is it's all about systemic change, it's all about legacy and institutional change, really, to get that long-lasting sustainable effect to improve Black economics locally. I'd like to come to Yemi now. I know, Yemi, you need to leave us very soon, but if you are here, I'd like to come to you for one last question before you do have to go, and it is, do you feel more encouraged today as a Black-owned business about future prospects than you did a year ago?
No. Look, I don't, because like I said, I'm not subscribing to it anymore. I'm in between balanced energy between Jennie, Annie, Dean. I get the need to be frustrated and say, I don't want to talk about this anymore. I just want to do now. So I would lie and say, what it has done, however, has given me more hope to become an investor. Literally I've gone from having a millionaire mind to now having a billionaire mind. I may not have had that if we haven't had all the things we've gone through. So my intention now is to invest in others, invest. No longer waiting for the bank. I will be the bank. So that's my take.
Can I apply for a loan at the Bank of England?
No, you're dropping bars.
Low interest rate. 0.5%.
I need to speak to, is it Neil that was here from Santander? I need to do
Sunil will connect you.
Yeah, make sure.
No, thank you so much for that contribution there. I also just wanted to come to Rachel briefly. And Rachel, I just wanted to know, in terms of working with entrepreneurs in Lambeth, how you feel locally the environment is for Black-owned businesses and their future prospects.
I feel like Lambeth is an interesting borough because, like I say, it's always represented, I think, a diverse community. But I think in the recent years, a lot of... Could everybody mute? Because I've just got a bit of background noise. So I think specifically recently, Lambeth has seen a change in the type of businesses that are in the community, and some people from diverse backgrounds almost feeling as if their local business has been edged out. So I think that this could speak to some of the narratives that have been explained by just touched on by Yemi as well, that we don't necessarily have to focus ourselves on Black business, but to be the best successful business, full stop. And actually how we just collaborate with what business is there and really have representation in that way. So yes, I'm eager to support more people from ethnic backgrounds in order to build a diverse community. And I think that conversation and the building of that needs to come from all people and all ends. So yes, we can focus on some of the needs culturally that people from Black and ethnic minorities will have and look at some of the challenge points for them. But I do also agree with the narrative of kind of not buying into this most successful Black business or just almost like a way of so not secluding, but I just feel like we should kind of keep our sights open on not placing any barriers on ourselves and just trying to be the most successful business, full stop. So I'm not sure if I actually answered your question. Could you just repeat it? Because I feel like I just went.
It sounds like you did, because you're talking about inclusivity instead of exclusivity. So that sounds like you did. But yeah, it was just basically around the future prospects of Black-owned businesses.
Yeah, and I do definitely feel like there's a place for Black business. Like people have said, now is the time to really become more resourceful, understand that we do have a lot of resources at our fingertips just by being able to connect with people in environments like this, being able to use the internet as a source of information to really build great networks and great resources. Sunil even spoke about some of the resources that are available. So utilize these platforms where we're able to have open and honest conversations. What I really like about this discussion is I can see a variety of different people from a variety of different backgrounds, and I think that in order for us to become successful in Black business, that actually requires conversations that are diverse with loads of different people from a variety of different backgrounds, rather than just having specific conversations to specific communities. So I think that this conversation is great in that sense.
Fantastic, thank you so much. I completely agree. This is a great conversation. Brilliant idea. Whoever thought of it. Emily, please. We've got some question or a question from the live. So Emily, if you would like to please put the question to some of the panelists.
Yeah, sure. So we have a question from Renice. It was mainly, she did want to ask Yemi, but I think Yemi has had to go. But she said, she'd like to hear anybody's viewpoint on this. So it is basically, how do you manage finding balance as a budding entrepreneur with multiple ideas? So is it limiting to pinpoint things and let go of certain ideas? So Renice graduated in 2019, and which wasn't long ago, and she's not yet settled on a career. She sometimes feels like juggling too many ideas might be the thing that's stopping her finding the right path.
Can I speak in on this, guys?
Yes, please.
So I know exactly how you feel. My career before I started to come into my own business, I've literally done a bit of everything on my CV. What I've now found that to be is that has led me into who I am and what I am doing today. So my advice to you would be, first of all, out of all of those ideas, because I've still got more ideas of my own that I'm going to bring into fruition in life, what is the greatest passion out of all of them? Yeah, what do you have the most love for, the most drive for, and what do you feel most connects with your own purpose to do here? Once you do that, that one's going to be easy. And then from there, whittle it down to what you might want to do next. Because what you'll often find is when you start one thing, it will already automatically open the doors to other things anyway, which might not even have anything to do with all of the 10 plans that you already had before, yeah? So just trust in the purpose, trust in the journey, and also trust in your passion. Thanks.
I think, unfortunately, Yemi had to go, so she didn't get a chance to answer her question. But what I can do is feed that back to her and obviously share anything that she does come back to responses. I also have her slide deck that will be shared too. So I hope that, as well as the Sunshine Dancers answer, was sufficient.
Brilliant, that's great. Thank you, Rachel.
Thank you very much, Emily, for that. If we could get a couple more questions, I know we're not long on time, and anything we don't get to answer on the session, we will be following up with responses via email. This question has excited me, and I'd really be interested to hear from Tess in relation to this question, and then Annie. And it's just based around, how do you feel your culture has influenced your business values and operations? So I'd love to come to Tess first on that one.
Well, as I said, my background is in finance, and I've not only felt, but I've always saw how not only being a black woman and a woman in a very male-dominated industry, you know, it's been difficult. And I've always kind of I've always wanted to encourage bringing that in. It's definitely influenced my business just based on I wanted to do more. And I couldn't effect or kind of command change from working within. So I just decided to do it myself from the outside, working in with all the contacts I've kind of made. So I think it was, for me, you know, being a slave to the system, working a 9 to 5, you kind of miss out on a lot. And pardon, it wasn't really a 9 to 5, it was really a 7 till 7, a 7 till 9 type of job. So, you know, doing something a little bit more closer to my heart, especially kind of working with young individuals, is something that I've kind of wanted to do. And just like what Sunshine said in regards to having a passion, I think that's kind of stemmed me to do this, which, you know, I've really enjoyed the process, which is part of the journey. And also like translating that as well. I think that's the difference. It's all good and well identifying what the issue is, but translating that into something tangible, yeah. If I've answered the question.
You can always answer the question. You know, it's all about interpretation and perception, but I thank you for those comments. Annie, I'd love to hear from you in terms of how you feel your background, your culture, if any, has influenced your kind of business operations and your business values. Annie, are you there?
Sorry, can you hear me?
Yeah.
I didn't unmute myself. So yes, my service is fully informed by my life experiences. As I mentioned at the start, I lost my mother at the age of 8 to HIV, and I was raised in the UK care system. I'm also a child survivor of domestic abuse. And one of the biggest frustrations that I found as an adult was that the same barriers that my mother experienced being a survivor of abuse, being of Malian heritage and going from service to service, that didn't understand her, who wasn't really open to wanting to understand her needs culturally, because she was also literate, didn't speak the language very well either. And I was often in situations at a young age having to interpret, at the time I was fluent in French, having to interpret, you know, things that people were saying to her for her to understand. So I was incredibly frustrated that actually the services that are designed to support, you know, victims of abuse are still very much broken. Which has the reason why I decided to launch Amour Destiné. And also my culture, being of Malian heritage, is about family, it's about love and supporting one another. And that's something that I instill within my community of women that we support through mentoring, and we provide one-to-one support, and we help to improve their health and their well-being through the use of our understanding of our culture, knowing that yes, we are Black, and that, you know, we are not Eurocentric in our way of thinking. So, you know, understanding, you know, about our ancestors and the food that we eat, you know, and those sorts of things is something that's quite important in how we engage with the women that we support as well, which they wouldn't get access to through the mainstream organisations like Women's Aid or Save Lives. Not to kind of say that they're bad services, because obviously I do engage with some of those services as well, and I have good relationships with some of them, but they are also very aware that they are not inclusive and not meeting the needs of their women. And what I've seen is that actually during COVID, and since the whole Black Lives Matter thing, that they've actually openly now wanting to understand our needs more, to try and reach out to organisations like mine who are Black, female-led, who understand the needs of the women that we support. So my culture 100% and my experiences influences the work that I deliver. I hope that's answered your...
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. You know, you've kind of divulged there, you know, how your history, your experiences have really influenced not only your business values, but indeed your actual whole business and what's led you to deliver doing what you're doing. So thank you so much for openly sharing with us. Just quickly, I wanted to come to Dean actually on this. I might regret this, but Dean, how do you feel, you know, your culture has influenced your business values and operations?
Well, why does leave me alone for today? Yes. My culture in what sense?
Your culture in terms of your background, your upbringing, your experiences. How has that translated into your business values? If it has, you might feel like it hasn't.
Okay, so all right. Yeah, you probably are going to regret this. You should have left me alone. With me personally, I grew up in Hackney, right? And I'm going to keep this 100. I grew up in Hackney, and the types of individuals I grew up with back in the day was actually notoriously known as Crackney. A lot of the people I hanged around, okay, were doing that illegal stuff, but I wasn't doing it myself, just throwing it out there. But I was watching their work ethic, doing what they're doing. And my thoughts was, if they were able to translate what they've been doing on the roads into real business, I wonder how far they can actually go. And it was actually, they inspired me to be better. So it was from there, like growing up in Hackney and doing, like going to college and doing that type of stuff, I had a wonderful journey to get to where I am now. So I'm a qualified chef. I've worked in the banking system, Royal Bank of Scotland, for about 5 years. I was the only person within that 5-year period to get 4 promotions. And that was because of my work ethic. So I'm kind of like what Will Smith said, like, you may be smarter than me, you may be more talented than me, but you're never going to outwork. And that's, for me personally, what puts me in, I think, in a premium position in what I do. Like, my thing is, okay, that, like, number one is everything else doesn't make sense to me. So that's the kind of my culture that I've been brought up with. And yeah, since then, it's just like, it's led me to where I am now. It's led me to help so many other people to actually literally to see the excellence within themselves at them also. And like, Tess is a perfect example. I just want to finish off with this. Tess is a perfect example of somebody who actually sees their, like, see where they are right now, realizing, okay, you know what, there's a little bit of work I need to be doing, and then starting again from failing. And I always say to my participants, when you fail, it's a great thing, because fail, it just means first attempts in learning. And that's what she's done. She's come back so much stronger from where she was before. She's actually got an intern for my business who is doing phenomenal stuff for myself. And where she was a few months ago to where she is now, it's just like, it's an amazing thing to actually see people's transformation. But I feel that type of culture, that type of person that I am, where I expect the best for myself, but also the best from other people, it actually overflows from me into other people as well. And that's what I love right now. So I'm going to finish it there.
Thank you so much for sharing that, Dean. And, you know, that honesty is why, you know, we work so well together. We deliver workshops in partnership. You're the Keenan to my Kel. So thank you so much for delivering that there. At this point,
there's
Jennie,
so many other people you could have said. Really.
Jennie, would you like to introduce Yas of Hotpatch, please?
Yeah, sure. I have the greatest pleasure of introducing a dear friend of mine, funny enough, when I was studying breathwork earlier on this year in Thailand. So yeah, here is Yas, and we've managed to connect, and he's part of Hotpatch. And over to you, Yas.
Yeah, thanks, Jennie. Hi, everyone. You will probably notice from my accent pretty quickly that I am not from a borough of London. I'm from Liverpool. I grew up in a place called Toxteth. I don't know if anyone's heard of it. First of all, thank you for inviting me to be a part of today's discussions. I've really enjoyed listening to what you guys have to say. A lot of your experiences I completely resonate with. A lot of what you guys are saying really hits home. So yeah, thank you. And like, I know I'm not from London, but hopefully I can contribute positively to what you guys are discussing today. So I'll give you a little bit of background on me. I'll tell you a little bit about Hotpatch and how I got to where I am. And like, I've got a very short slot, so if there's any questions, I'll drop my details in and feel free to hit me up afterwards. So, as I say, I am from Liverpool, Toxteth, via being born in Africa. 10 points for the person who can guess. It's the biggest country there. So prior to Hotpatch, I studied engineering. I think Yemi was also an engineer, which is, I like the connection to making shit happen, which is very much what I'm about as well. Engineering followed by a stint in the Middle East. I also worked in recruitment for a bit, and I lived in Asia, in Hong Kong for a bit. So the reason I just touched on the recruitment point for a moment was something that I would certainly say to people who are sort of still finding their way, still figuring out what they're trying to do, is, you know, to figure out what you want to do. Sometimes it helps to figure out what you really don't want to do. And I had a terrible, terrible time in this job. And I can talk the back legs of a horse, but I hated it. I hated the fact that I was going in. I hated the fact that I had someone over my shoulder. I hated the sales targets, the call targets. So, you know, that really sort of motivated me and pushed me to move towards what I wanted to do, which was to, well, initially work with numbers and work in finance because I like maths. So I left that job and I worked in the city for a few years in private equity. And getting there was not easy. I actually ended up joining, funny enough, a startup firm. And I say that it's funny enough because I run a startup now. So I joined a firm really early on, not much money, had a great time, a few years there, investing, spending, blah, blah, blah. And about a year and a half ago, I was not having a good time anymore. You know, my honeymoon period was over. It wasn't a startup anymore. It was a corporation. And for me, I didn't like it. So I went in one day, spoke to the CEO and said, I quit. And I didn't really know what I was going to do. There was no Hotpatch on my mind. There was nothing really sort of fixed, but I knew it was time for a change. And you can't be scared of making these changes. So yeah, a bit of sort of a month of downtime, you could call it. And then I had the idea of a Hotpatch. And for those that don't know, Hotpatch, the really simple explanation is you can think of it as the Airbnb for commercial workspace or the workspace marketplace. So if you have a chair in your salon, a studio, a treatment room, a desk in your office that's going spare, you list it on Hotpatch, somebody comes along and says, hey, I need a desk, I need a chair. They book it, and the rest is history. I started Hotpatch probably just over a year now. And we launched the platform in March of 2020, right in the face of a global lockdown. So never mind sharing space, people aren't even sharing a bus at this point. So talk about adversity on the start, but I think actually it made us stronger. You know, one of the sort of key things I built into the business early on was agility and to make it lean. So from having maybe, you know, call it £1,000 of fixed costs or something like that, overnight I managed to turn those costs off and have it, you know, down to 40 quid. So yeah, pretty successful on that basis. We grew during lockdown. We, you know, made some content and started learning about the community. You can tell I don't really cut much hair, so you know, we speak to hairdressers, barbers, PTs, office managers, etc., learn, understand, make the product better for them. Relaunched again in July, and yeah, we've had a really good period of success. So yeah, I'm really happy to be sitting here as, you know, CEO and founder of Hotpatch, and you know, I'd love to come back again and listen to what you guys have to say. And if anyone would like to know any more about the business, feel free at any point to, you know, hit me up. I'll drop my details in shortly. And I guess sort of just some points that I've heard today that I'd like to feed back on. I think you guys have, you know, you've made some very, very strong points. And I think just to tag on, or rather, you know, show my agreement, I would say certainly there was a point earlier about, you know, not trying to be the best black business. Just try and be the best bloody business. Stop trying to be, you know, the richest black man, this black man, this black woman. Just be the best. And trust me, when you shake off that mentality, so I think it was Jennie possibly said it, so much opens up for you, because your mentality almost is screw everyone. I will do what I'm going to do, and I will be successful. You know, Yemi said this as well, and I couldn't agree more. At the end of the day, I'm not going to speak for you guys on the call, but I've been through some terrible things. You know, I've suffered racism. I've had doors closed on me. I've had, you know, things not open for me. And you can do two things. You can get pissed off, you can get angry, and nothing's going to happen. Or you stay focused, you stay on the case, and you win. And I haven't won yet, but I certainly feel that every day I'm trying to. I'm getting closer to that win, with a you know, a winning mentality, so to speak. That's how you get there. You know, there were points about the black community. Why is the black community not spending all the money inside the black community? What I'd say to that is, why is the white community, the Asian community, why are they not spending money in our community as well? You know, turn it around on its head. Let everyone spend on us. Let us be the businesses they come to. And again, by that measure, what I'm saying is, be a business, be an entrepreneur. Don't define yourself as a black entrepreneur, a black business, a black that. Yes, you should have that personal connection to your personal culture, to yourself. But at the end of the day, you're human, you bleed, you go to the toilet, you eat, you drink, okay? So win on a global scale. As you know, I think it was Yemi was saying, have the billionaire mentality. What's the worst that's going to happen? You know, the sayings, if you don't buy a ticket, you can't win the lottery, yada, yada, yada. Follow that. because you can't and you won't win. You know, if you're always looking for a problem or for someone to be pissed off at or for something to be annoyed about or why something's not going your way, you're not going to get very far. So, you know, echoing the statements that I've heard here already today, you know, stay on this path, stay on the winning path. Don't, you know, you're going to get rocked, you're going to get knocked, you're going to make mistakes, learn from your mistakes, don't learn the mistake, you know, stay on top of things in that way. And there's no reason why, you know, all participants of this call can't be successful. I can definitely speak for a lot longer, and it's a bad habit of mine, but I'll wrap it up there. And if there are any questions or anything else, please hit me up.
Thank you so much, Yas. Please connect with Yas through the chat. I love the idea of thinking globally while supporting local businesses. So yeah, I'm all about that. Right now, I just wanted to invite on Paula. Paula from Lewisham Local, who's going to briefly talk. Paula, you've got about 3 minutes, maybe 4. So if you're ready, Paula, I'd love to see you come on now. Thank you.
Hi, I want to say thank you to all the speakers, and it was a great description of like Black communities and mutual aid and lived experiences that is very useful for other entrepreneurs as well. And I'm from Lewisham Local. We're a charity in Lewisham that connects people to community organizations and businesses to give and share in order to make Lewisham a better place. And I'm going to share a presentation that I have. There we go. So today I'm going to be talking about the Lewisham Local card, which starting off by explaining the scheme and a description of who benefits.
Sorry, Paula, we can't see your actual screen. It's just black, ironically. Might need to double click to go into full screen mode or reduce the screen.
Maybe if I reduce.
Yep, that's it.
Yeah?
Beautiful.
Okay, great. So I'm going to talk about the scheme and then who benefits from it with a particular focus on Black-owned businesses, and finally how you can support us and join us if you wish to. So the Lewisham Local Card is a scheme to allow individuals to enjoy discounts while supporting local businesses and community organizations. And it's done with an ethos of community support. So individuals have to either volunteer or donate in order to apply for a card. And we have over 500 local businesses who partner with us to bring discounts to these community supporters. And it not only rewards people for contributing towards common goals, but also creates a network of community-minded individuals, consumers, and increases engagement in the local economy. So there are many benefits for the scheme for all groups. I'm gonna mainly talk about businesses at the moment. So businesses are the fundamental core of the scheme, and we advocate for local spending and try to strengthen the local economy. And this is especially important when it comes to supporting BAME businesses, as you know, because you are largely underrepresented in larger corporations, both in ownership and array and diversity of products. So it's good to get a lot of free promotion with the Lewisham Local Card. And we have like a local business campaign that promotes all the businesses we can. And additionally, like you get like a bit of easy access to social responsibility and more socially responsible customers coming to your business. Also a free Lewisham Local Card, which I will explain in a second, like what kind of professional discounts that can get you as well. And finally, you get a web page on our website with where you can change photos, offers, deals, all your information, social media details, everything. So moving on to how the scheme is planning to help Black-owned businesses in particular. Initially, we're planning to create an exclusive page on our website, which features Black-owned Lewisham local businesses to support. This is in hopes that, like with all the visibility that you're getting at the moment, that people kind of keep this in mind and attracts individuals across the borough who want to put more spending power in Black-owned businesses, as well as individuals from Lewisham Local who are encouraged to spend more money on Black businesses. And additionally, on the local businesses campaign, we want to give a bit of a special priority to Black-owned businesses, especially now that Black History Month is coming to a close. We want to acknowledge the structural difficulties that Black businesses might encounter and push people to remain conscious outside of the prescribed, like, just Black History Month date. And in these spaces, we want to highlight again and again the importance of supporting Black businesses, such as that it creates a larger diversity of products and fosters job opportunities in the local community, and allows people to avoid spending money in larger corporations that might discriminate against Black employees, customers, or communities.
Okay, sorry, Paula, you've got probably about 60 seconds left. I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to push you.
These are some examples of the 500 businesses that give professional discounts that you can access by joining the Lewisham local card. And for instance, there's 25% discount on graphic design and logo design. And the first one is a 10% discount on web design and consultancy. There's the Federation of Small Businesses, where you can get £30 off. And yeah, those are just some examples. We also have like social media posts where you can advertise kind of like your involvement with this and show off a bit like the social responsibility. And yeah, that's all. Thank you for listening. And I'll leave a link on the group chat of how you can sign up, more information. And yeah, this was a great event. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Paula. And that will leave us, very timely, so prompt. That will lead us on to Uto Patrick, who is from the British Library and is actually the Startup in London Library SiLL project manager. So she's kind of head honcho, the reason why all the champions are here. So Uto, please, if you'd like to make your comments, please.
Hi, afternoon everybody. Thank you, Mark, Rachel, Dean, Loretta, for putting together this event. I think it's been brilliant. I've been logged in since the beginning, and it's been so interesting to hear everybody's perspective and to hear just the general discussion. So as Mark has said, my name is Uto Patrick. I'm the project manager for Startups in London Libraries. I work with the British Library. We are the lead partner of this program, and it's a pilot. So we're working with 10 local authorities to take business support to local people, basically, to democratize entrepreneurship. Because as the British Library, there is this idea that it's not for everybody. People seem to see it as a place for academics or for, you know, a certain type of person. And one of the values that the British Library holds is that it's to make our collection and our services accessible to all. And so we noted as an organization that we weren't reaching certain areas of our community, even though we're based in London. When I joined the organization, there was this language currently constantly used about hard to reach. And I'm always conscious about language, because the community is not hard to reach. They're there, nobody's looking for them, or nobody is putting the effort into identifying where they are. And so there needed to be more effort put into serving the community and making sure that the services are available and are accessible to our community. So I'm really proud of the project, and I'm proud and honored to work with such a dynamic bunch of SME champions who are so passionate about taking this program and bringing it to life and ensuring that people get the support one-to-one, whatever else, but just creating an outreach in each of their local boroughs. So as a project, since we started our sessions in April 2019, we've had over 2,280 people come through to get support. And from that group of aspiring entrepreneurs, I've just got somebody in the team to do like a quick stat check, because people like their stats. A third of those, so over just under 900, are identified as Black. And that's testament to the fact that our champions are being able to actually take the program out and actually make it, make people aware that we are here and you can access our services for free. From a British Library's perspective, some of the targets that we have is to support more women, to support more people from a BAME community, and to support more people with disabilities. Those are some of the key targets that we have as a department. So, figures like this and programs like this help to help us meet those type of objectives. And there are various success stories. I know I don't have as much time as I would normally, but there are various success stories that have come through this particular project. For example, I know in Lewisham, not Lewisham, in Greenwich, we've got Vada, who Loretta supported just at the beginning of the project, and she's had some great success with her language therapy business, and there are various others that I'm sure Emily will probably put a link into the chat of like our Instagram and our Facebook community, so that you can go and have a look and see some of the people who have come through the scheme. And that's what's most important to me. It's not just about the stats or the numbers of people walking through, it's what they get and what they're able to do with the support that they've gotten through the program and the outcomes. So we want to see more people coming through our doors. We don't just want people to come through and start a business and you forget all about them. I want to see 2 years down the line, 3 years down the line, these businesses surviving and being sustainable, and either being able to contribute back to their local community or just the local economy by either employing people as such. So that's what we want to get out of these type of programs, not just people coming through our door. And just a quick one about what's coming up for Startups in London Libraries. We have an annual event called Startup Day. This year it's on the 19th of November. So it's quite similar to this type of setup. So it's a full day of panel discussions, breakout sessions, and various other activities. The link will be up on Eventbrite, or if there's a post-session email mark that's being sent, I can provide the link so you can add that and share with the participants today. And what I'm really excited about is that this year our SiLL Champions are going to showcase their expertise. So we've got great experts on the project, and they're going to have a breakout room to have Q&A sessions. So the big questions that startups have been they've been coming back to our champions and asking. So things like knowing your numbers, how to do your cash flow, things like how to promote your services or products on a shoestring, or just how to get a free website up so that you can get your product out there. We've got our finance guru or crowdfunding guru I call Dean, who's going to do a session on crowdfunding, because he's very successful in getting his businesses supported that way. So it's going to be a really lively day, and I would encourage you all to sign up and attend. And should I wrap up now, Mark? I don't want you to
yeah, please, if you can.
Yeah, I just want to mention this because they will pinch me if I didn't mention it. But British Libraries Business and IP Centre has just launched a new service. It's a 6-month program called Restart, and it's to support SMEs across the country to try and get the businesses to still grow through this pandemic. It just went live a few weeks ago, and it's going to go on until the end of March 2021. So if you're interested, it's open to all types of businesses. So it's 10 free training advice sessions, tailored program, combining national and localized support. So I'll put a link in the chat. So if you're interested, you can find out a bit more about that too. Thank you, Mark.
Thank you so much, Uto, for your comments. I just also want to mention here, we've got an event tomorrow for those of you with children, because I know it's half term. There's an event with Peaches Publication around children's books. That's also part of Black History Month Lewisham. So I've just put that in the chat there. If that's of interest to anybody, they can have a look. At this point, just before we close, we've done pretty well, a little 5-minute overrun, but I don't think that's too bad. I just want to come back to each of the panel members with a key takeaway they wanted to give out for any aspiring entrepreneurs on this event. So just a key piece of advice, or maybe someone who inspired them on their journey, or some closing comments. So I wanted to come to the panel very, very briefly for that. If we start with Rachel. Rachel, could you get us kicked off there?
Me, Mark?
Yes, please.
Okay, so I think that based on what we said, just understanding that there are no limits anymore. The limits are the only limits that exist are the limits that we place on ourselves. So go out there, know that there's resources out there, and just take one step at a time until you get to where you need to be. In a sentence, that's where I'd leave it.
Brilliant. Loretta, did you have a
Yeah,
key takeaway?
sure.
Just a few comments: research, collaborate, and seek support.
Brilliant. Dean?
Yeah, if you want to grow your business, come see me.
Perfect. So to the point. Jennie, did you have a closing comment?
Just remember that procrastination is failure's best friend.
Absolutely. Annie?
Don't forget that you started it for a reason, and don't lose that connection with that purpose, and really try to focus on keeping that balance between your love for it and what's sort of required of you. And it's okay to ask for help.
It certainly is. It certainly is. And thank you. Tess, did you have a closing comment or a key takeaway you wanted for the attendees?
It's okay to make mistakes. It's your journey.
Simple as. And I'll close with, start now. Start today, start here. It's all about Start Up in London Libraries. So join us on your entrepreneurial journey, so we can support you as best as possible to serve the Black community and the Black economy, and of course the wider UK economy, because as has been mentioned on this chat many times, it's all about working inclusively with all parts of society. At that point, I just want to say we will be following up any unanswered questions.
Mark, before you wrap up, can everyone give Mark a massive round of applause for hosting this event, because the work that he put in to make this happen was so much behind the scenes you don't even know. So Mark, I'd like to say thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. Well done for actually making this happen, man. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you so much, Dean. But as you know, it couldn't have happened without the team. So the partnering boroughs, Lambeth, Greenwich and Southwark, as well as Lewisham. My co-champions, Dean, Loretta and Rachel, who co-hosted this event with myself. Also the contributions from the British Library and the wider British Library team. Of course, Emily within Lewisham, who's been doing loads of different bits with the chat and a lot of the admin. Veronica Hyatt does a lot of work behind the scenes. I'm very much the face of SiLL Lewisham, but this whole event, it couldn't have happened without her, and she's been integral to a lot of the good work we've been doing with SiLL locally. So yeah, thanks to Santander, all of the panelists, all of the guests, the Lewisham staff, BAME Professional Network, who've been fantastic in supporting everything, all of the attendees. Thank you to yourselves. Please have a lovely afternoon. Thank you for joining us. Please remember to fill out the feedback forms. We really do need them all to be completed so we can put on more great events like this, and we can utilize that information to better inform our decisions in the future. And with that being said, give yourselves a round of applause. Thank you, everybody. We're going to leave the chat open just for the next 10 minutes, just so people can grab links, open up the feedback form and everything like that. But finally, for all of the panelists, all of the contributors and everyone who attended, thank you so much, and do have a lovely, lovely afternoon. Goodbye.